Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello, everyone. I'm Karis. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, August 4th through Saturday, August 10th, 2024. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. The mysterious, magical night sky as we are in the first week and beyond of August brings us the new moon on August 4th. Now, the time of the new moon is perfect for stargazing under dark skies. If you're out under dark skies, look for a summer favorite, the Perseus double cluster that appears like a smudge on the night sky between the constellations of Perseus and Cassiopeia. We still have the summer's double meteor shower. The Delta Aquarius meteors ramble across the sky for weeks, from late July through early August, blending with the famous Perseid meteor shower. The Perseids peak around the morning of August 12th. On August 5th and August 6th, the moon is near Venus, the love planet. About 30 minutes after sunset on the evening of August 5th, the thin, waxing crescent moon will hang close to Venus in the evening twilight. Then, on the following evening, August 6th, the lit portion of the crescent moon will point to brilliant Venus. Venus is just beginning to ascend in the evening sky and will reach its greatest distance from the sun on January 2025. Look for a lovely glow on the unlit side of the moon. That's Earthshine. It's reflected light from the Earth. On August 9th, the moon reaches its apogee. That is the farthest distance from the Earth in its elliptical orbit around the Earth. And then on August 9th and the 10th, the moon is near the sweetest star in the heavens, Spica. On the evenings of August 9th and 10th, the waxing crescent moon will lie near this bright star, Spica, in the constellation of Virgo, the Maiden. They'll rise before sunset and be visible until after 10 p.m. your local time. The 7 original planets that you can view without aid of telescope or binoculars are as follows this week. We've got the Sun in Leo in its domicile, its strongest and most powerful placement. We've got the Moon starting off with the week on Sunday, August 4th in 2 hot fixed fire Leo. We've got Mercury stationing retrograde. Mercury is in its domicile and exaltation in the sign of Virgo. We've got Venus about to take a nosedive and move into her fall placement in the sign of Virgo. Mars is in mutable air Gemini. Jupiter is in its detriment in mutable air Gemini. And Saturn is still retrograde in the sign of Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Sunday, August 4th, we have the new moon at 12 degrees Leo. We've got Venus entering her fall placement in the sign of Virgo, and Mercury in Virgo, its domicile and exaltation, stations retrograde. The new moon in Leo is the time to take action. We've done the preparation. We have released what needed to be released and dissolved during the fourth quarter to new moon reflective time. At the time of the new moon, that is all systems go. To begin something, start, take the action. Leo is the sign of the zodiac that connects to the stage of growth and development of the rebellious teenager that has decided that they have to go their own way and do their own thing in life. When we look at the sign of Cancer right before Leo, that is the adolescent. meaning when you're transitioning from child to young adult and all of the hormones and moods are changing and shifting and raging, and you're not quite still a child, you're not a young adult yet, and everything is fluctuating like the moon, which is very emotional, it's very moody. That's the sign of Cancer, right before Leo. The sign after Leo is Virgo, the young adult that is now ready to be off on their own, going to college perhaps, getting the first job, and in the stage of development that has to do with self-reliance and becoming a self-reliant young adult. But Leo is the rebellious teenager. Leo is the sign ruled over by fixed fire, the sun, where the resolve, the fixity of Leo, the resolve of I've got to go and make my own way in life. You love your parents, respect your parents. You'll always be a part of the family. But Leo is that rebellious stage and the determination to say, even though I love my family and always will be a part of them, I have to go and do my own thing. So this new moon in Leo at 12 degrees, which brings in a Sagittarius influence, the second decanate of Leo, is that resolve with faith, Sagittarius, that it will work out. So in this stage of development, this is the time where a person can take these huge gambles and risks and these major jumps into the future with that determination that this is going to happen. And at 12 degrees, with the faith and the belief, this new moon in Leo is about you going your own way. Even though others may not agree with it, they might not understand it. They just don't get it for whatever reason. But the new moon in Leo is you saying, no, I've got to go against the grain and make my own way, even though others might not be supportive. You may think back to when you were a teenager and you wanted to do something that the parents and the family didn't agree with, a different kind of school, education, career, whatever it may have been. But think back to those teenage years where there was something in you that your heart, Leo rules over the heart, the truth of your heart was telling you, I must do this. This is the new moon in Leo. Wherever this new moon in Leo is taking place in your personal astrology chart, which is based on your birth date, time, and place, will also give you more information as to how this new moon in Leo needs to express its originality, its creativity, and most importantly, the love, the heart, which is what Leo rules over. So if you've got this new moon in Leo taking place in your first house, the ascendant in first house, this is where you are going to express your own individuality and who and what you are in the sense of the truth, the heart. I am what I am. That is the first house. If this is taking place in your second house, then a new rebellion and or originality as far as your personal finances, how you truly feel about wealth, abundance, money, and also the values and talents that you were born with. If the new moon in Leo is taking place in your third house, this is the mind, the thinking, the attitude, what you want to say, write, communicate. If the new moon in Leo is taking place in your fourth house of your chart, this is where you truly want to live and put down roots. The fourth house is the foundation. Perhaps you've lived in a certain place and it never really felt right. It just didn't resonate with you for whatever reason. The new moon in Leo is saying, yes, I finally have to and will. Leo says, I will move. It is time. If the new moon in Leo takes place in your fifth house of creativity. That is the Leo house in the natural wheel. Children, creativity, entertainment, lots of fun in the fifth house. Venus is in its joy in the fifth house. This is you making the determination that you are finally going to create the truth of what you want to create. We're always doing one of two things. We're either creating the sun or destroying. If you have the new moon in Leo in the sixth house, the sixth house has to do with health. So making the determination with the heart, which Leo rules over, but making the determination that you're finally going to decide and have the will to do what is of the utmost best for your health. And that could be a certain kind of rebellion. If you're in a family or a part of the group that has very different health habits than what you would like to have, the new moon in Leo gives the new opportunity and strength to have the kind of health that you would like to enjoy. If the new moon in Leo is taking place in the seventh house of marriage, then this is bringing the heart and the expression and the will to have the kind of partnership marriage that is true to your heart, whether anyone agrees with it or not. The new moon in Leo, if this takes place in the eighth house, this is the will to explore and determine things that have to do with not only merged finances, but how you want to share your goods and services. If the new moon in Leo takes place in the ninth house, which is higher education, university, it's also foreigners in foreign countries. Then if there is something you've put off, and or if there is a different kind of higher level of knowledge, religion, philosophy that you feel that you must follow, that is where your heart is. This is the new moon in Leo. If the new moon in Leo takes place in the 10th house of your chart, this is the career where you feel called to contribute and give back to the world. The 10th house is the highest potential. So perhaps you've been in the same kind of job forever, and it doesn't resonate with how you feel in your heart, what it is you truly love. The new moon in Leo is that fixed fire and the excitement of finally following your heart on the career path. If the new moon in Leo takes place in the 11th house of your chart, this is the house that has to do with philanthropy, benefits, raising money to serve the planet, the highest good. So finally making that resolve that you're going to get involved with whatever philanthropic cause really speaks to you. If the new moon in Leo takes place in your 12th house, this is the house of exploring spirituality. The 12th house is, I believe, things having to do with mediumship, past life hypnotherapy, everything that is around the realm of spirituality, which may be a rebellion for you if it goes against the accepted culture that you live in, that you want to explore different things. If you do have the new moon taking place in your 12th house, there's a wonderful book. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon, and it's called Mission to Millborough by Margaret Ryder. And what the book is about is that years ago, Margaret Ryder was a hypnotherapist, and she would use hypnosis to help people quit smoking, lose weight, that kind of thing. Well, one day in a session, she's hypnotizing a client, and the client starts talking about a past life in Millborough, Virginia during the Civil War. Then the client in the session started to name other people in the town. It was Lake Elsinore. the client started to mention other people that lived in Lake Elsinore that was a part of this past life soul group. So Margaret Ryder decides to put out an advertisement saying, if you'd like to try hypnosis to quit smoking, lose weight, etc., come in for a session. And the first client that named the other people in the town did not know who these people were. They just started naming people that lived in that city. So the people in that city that came in for the hypnosis, they all separately started talking about a past life in Millboro, Virginia during the Civil War. So when it was revealed to everybody that this is what this experiment was about, they all met and they decided to go on a mission to Millboro. They decided to take a trip back to Millboro, Virginia. And what they found is that the things, the people, the names, the relationships, and even with some of them, the birthmarks, they found this in Millboro, Virginia, and saw the photographs and the proof that, yes, we were all here as a soul's group in this past life. It's a fascinating book. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. But this is the new moon in Leo in the 12th house, where you could have these awakenings, these epiphanies, that there is just something more than the physical plane. And now you're feeling that you're going to have the resolve, new moon in Leo, to explore different potential realities. For certain people, wanting to explore those different possibilities could be very much going against the grain or the accepted culture. But this is a new moon in Leo, meaning your heart and your will is in it. Nothing is going to stop you. Leo, the rebellious teenager, again, is that stage of development where it expresses, I have to rebel and go my own way. In 1984, Shirley MacLaine, the legend, wrote a book. It was published called Out on a Limb. And at that time, not today, it's commonplace, but at that time, for a major movie star icon to write a book about all of the spiritual things like channeling and past lives and that kind of thing. At the time, people were telling her this is going to be career suicide for you as a public figure to come out writing this kind of book about your experiences. But she felt called to do so and communicate this information. She had to rebel. Her heart was in it. And if you're too young to remember this book, and maybe you've never even heard of it, get the book. One, she's a fabulous writer, and the title of the book is Out on a Limb. And she certainly did go out on a limb at the time that she wrote and the book was published. Also on Sunday, August 4th, we have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, and marriage, partnerships, leaving the sign of fixed fire Leo and falling into the sign of Virgo. When Venus goes into Virgo, this puts a great emphasis on healing and paying attention to the relationships in your life. Also, Venus being very comfortable in your own body at its best. Pay attention to how you are feeling and taking care of your health and feeling really relaxed and good. Law of attraction, this is Venus, in your own skin, your own body. We also have Mercury, the messenger, stationing retrograde in the sign of Virgo. It's exaltation and domicile. So the time frame of having Mercury retrograde, which will last throughout August until August 28th, this is an element of making an assessment, doing the research. This is a good part about Mercury retrograde. It's great for doing the homework and research and going back and looking over things a second and a third time. So the Mercury retrograde in Virgo is great for the research and getting the information, doing the homework before you sign that contract, before you move forward. For instance, Mercury rules over short trips. So before you're getting on the plane and traveling, get everything squared away. Obviously, Mercury rules over cars. Before you buy the new car, do the research. And the research with this Mercury retrograde is the research connected to your relationships. Venus now in her fall in Virgo. So how this all connects together with your power and the cosmic power is that you've made a resolve somewhere in your life that you're going to go your own way and nothing is going to stop you because your heart is in it. Yet on the same day, around this new moon, we have an attentiveness to Venus, which are the relationships in your life that perhaps are blocking you. Venus now in her fall, and also the information and the communication going retrograde that can also be a block and something that needs to be healed and paid attention to. In other words, anything that is trying to delay and or block you from going your own way, that will be dealt with these aspects, these planetary placements and aspects around the new moon in Leo. Monday, August 5th. Now this is very important on this day, Monday, the moon's day. We've got the moon moving into mutable earth Virgo. It's after the new moon, time to take action. The moon in Virgo makes a conjunction to Venus in her fall in Virgo and Mercury retrograde now in Virgo. These aspects have to do with clearing away the clutter as opposed to emotional spending. The moon in Virgo on Monday can be where you're feeling, especially in the stomach area, that's the moon, that it isn't perfect enough. Perhaps you're being too self-critical. Perhaps you've heard some type of criticism or put down. The moon in Virgo making these aspects to Venus and Mercury is very productive in the sense of clearing away the clutter. Virgo clears things away. It takes away what is false and fake. So even if it's just maybe one drawer, perhaps, clearing things away to make space for the new moon in Leo energy to come in is a very productive and positive way to deal with the moon in Virgo on this Monday. Perhaps you'll give things to a charity or the homeless. Again, just clearing things away, clearing away the clutter, as opposed to buying something based on emotional spending. We're in retrogrades. Venus, Mercury, retrograde. Now the moon in Virgo, which again can be cranky, moody, not feeling out of sorts. Depends on how we channel this energy. This is why we want to know what's going on in the cosmos as certain spotlights that get lit up for us. It always feels lighter and better when you finally clear out the garage or a closet, whatever it may be. It could just be going through paperwork and bills, perhaps, that you need to just clear those away. But that is one of the most productive ways to handle the moon on this Monday, August 5th, as opposed to feeling out of sorts, Mercury retrograde. You get talked into something that you don't really need, and or you're just not ready to purchase it. You haven't cleared the space yet. And going the emotional spending route. Obviously, we wouldn't want to get talked into buying something and then we end up with buyer's remorse with the Venus and Mercury retrograde at the time of the purchase. Throw things away first, and if you can give them away, that helps somebody else out, that's even better. The sign of Virgo, ruling over doctors and nurses, they love to help if and when they possibly can. Tuesday, August 6th is all of this mutable madness because now we've got the moon still in Virgo, mutable earth, which means shifting and changing. The moon makes a square aspect to Mars in Gemini, mutable air. The moon in Virgo also makes a square to Jupiter in its detriment in mutable air, Gemini. The moon aspecting Jupiter wants it all and wants it all right now. This is big over-the-top desire. The moon, what you're wanting, Jupiter, larger than life. And because we're involving the aspects and the mutables, this is too scattered. It's too overwhelming. Both Virgo and Gemini, ruled by Mercury, the mind, how you take in communication, process it, and then verbalize it outwardly. These aspects here, too much, too scattered, too overwhelming, especially in the area of gossip and what you're hearing. Let's say, for instance, you made the resolve at the time of the new moon in Leo that you are moving to such and such a place. New moon in the 4th house. And then you start to listen to someone that starts bad-mouthing that place, saying how horrible it is, and this overwhelms and scatters your mind and your thinking and potentially your resolve that you have to do what you have to do. So however this connects to your life, whatever decision you've made, this day on August 6th is when you are challenged in the sense of your mind being overwhelmed and or potentially scattered with information that you would want to just, again, Mercury retrograde. Let me think about this. Let me go back and take a second and third look before you take this in as fact, and with Virgo as science. Now, Virgo is a very practical sign, and it says at its best, show me the proof. Wednesday, August 7th, we still have the moon in Virgo making an earth trine flow to the planet Uranus in Taurus. This is a day where you pleasantly surprise yourself at how disciplined you can be, how much you're willing to do the work, whatever it takes to stay the course. This is Taurus, fixed earth Taurus, to create and move forward with the new moon that you have resolved yourself with. Also, after the time of the new moon, a couple of days-ish after the exact moment of the new moon, we get to see that beautiful new moon crescent baby moon, which is just so gorgeous to see. So you will find that you are feeling more grounded, more secure in your resolve. You may find yourself also surprised that you've always had the power to speak up, to separate, and to say goodbye, no more. Thursday, August 8th, we have the moon entering cardinal air Libra, making an air trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius. This air trine flow between the moon and Pluto is the clarity and clear communication about how you define for yourself great relationships. The moon in Libra is very social, loves people, needs and wants relationships, and wants harmony and peace in relationships. So with this moon-Pluto combination, it's the way your life transforms, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, the new level of power and transformation when you take the action of, one, how you define a great relationship. That's different for everybody. Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius is independence, it's freedom, it's not trying to control anything or anyone. It's Aquarius, it's free. So creating the relationships from friendship to business to love, the social world, the people that you're connected to, that you feel, moon, and what you need, the moon, are great relationships in your life. Also because Pluto is the death and rebirth transformation, this again carries on throughout the week, that the saying goodbye, the releasing and letting go, taking that action of relationships that are not in harmony with your heart, new moon in Leo, what you love and what is of great loyalty and passion, Leo, for you. Friday, Venus's day, August 9th, we've got the sun, of course, in Leo, making an inconjunct aspect to Saturn in Pisces. This is where the power and vibrancy of the sun is making the adjustments to whatever the blocks may be. Also, wonderful opportunity here for the sun to have the resolve and take the action to face the addictions, whatever it may be. There are many forms of addiction. It's not always drugs and alcohol. A person can be addicted to procrastination, putting things off, dreaming about something, but never taking the action and doing something about it. Well, this new moon in Leo is the time of taking the action. It's not planting the seed and waiting. It's taking the action. We are in new moon to second quarter moon. So this is the sun in Leo, which is shining its light no matter what and making the adjustments and adaptations to remove the blocks, the addictions, the putting things off. Saturday, August 10th, we start off the day with the moon still in Libra, but the moon in Libra is making an opposition aspect to Chiron, the wounded healer in the sign of Aries. Chiron in Aries is healing the wound of this is who I am. The moon in Libra is making that opposition, saying, I am not going to keep being what I was told I was supposed to be, who I am. The moon in Libra is saying, I've got to get back into balance. This is Libra, and go towards who you truly are. I am Chiron in Aries. Now, later on in the day, depending on your time zone, the moon then falls into fixed water Scorpio. The moon in Scorpio and Scorpio ruling over death. The moon in Scorpio is saying no longer will you keep carrying the emotional imprints, the baggage, what was never yours to carry emotionally to begin with. So taking this action of releasing, getting very clear about what is yours emotionally and you own it, what is not emotionally yours, and moon in Scorpio, ruled by Mars, cuts it away. This is the function of Mars, to take things away like a poison, like a cancer, meaning emotionally, psychologically, to cut it away and no longer carry the past with you, which can feel so heavy. Happy memories are wonderful. They give us energy, but memories, emotional memories here with the moon in Scorpio that weigh you down, that have become poison and disease for you. This action this week, which is the overall theme of the week, taking action with the resolve as we close out the week on Saturn's day, Saturn being the lesson and the test, what perhaps we needed to learn, but Saturn can also be the block that slows us down. Saturn rules over lead. So this moon in Scorpio, as we close out the week, is the cutting away of what emotionally and psychologically has weighed you down. It's become too heavy, to say the least. Let it go, cut it away at this time. The moon in Scorpio is also legitimate grieving. If you have never really cried, let it out, grieved what happened to you. Moon in Scorpio is a flood of emotion that could have been building up for years. Tears are purification. They're cleansing. They're healing. When we finally release and let it all out, the emotion, again, that perhaps you've been carrying and being weighed down by for who knows how long it's been. But that is also a necessary action as we're chatting about this week in the new moon resolve. So take the action if you feel the need to let the emotion up and out. Don't keep carrying the weight of the world and emotion on your shoulders. That is also a very necessary new moon in Leo action. Having a heavy heart is not a new moon in Leo resolved heart. So feel your feelings always and let it out. This situation in England with the little kids at a dance studio, I will be grieving that forever. I just simply don't have any words. Now, this new moon in Leo being the big kid, the inner child, which I reference again and again all the time in my work, because I see people as the inner child, the child that is trying to pretend to be a responsible grown-up, taking everything so seriously in life. But the child in you, the eternal child in you, loves again, no matter how many times it's been let down and disappointed. The heart of a child will love again, trust again. When you watch little kids, it just makes you happy. That spirit of play and spontaneity and feeling free. The child brings out the wonder in us to look at things, to look at the cosmos with wonder and awe. That's the spirit of the inner child. Children, like the sign of Leo, they just love. That's what they are. So this new moon in Leo, which is the rebellious teenager, it isn't rebelling just for the sake of kicking up a fuss and starting trouble. It's that rebellion that comes from fixed fire Leo that rules the heart, which is if you don't follow your heart and follow what it is that you love, you won't be happy. You won't look through the lens of wonder and excitement. You won't create. You won't shine your light for all to see and be inspired by. The inner child in you, which is the heart, will not grow and thrive and express. It is, in a certain sense, if you don't follow that rebellion, it is like killing the inner child. Now, the inner child may be repressed. It can be held back for a while, but like the heart of a child, it is there. You just have to look for it, get in touch with it, and then act on it. When you hear parents say, you don't know what love is until you have a child, what they're really saying is, my child brought me and my heart back to life. They literally saved that parent's life. So with this new moon in Leo, stop being a coward. Take action. Find your courage, like Leo the lion, and get out there and make some noise. Rattle that cage you've been in and finally break free. Only your heart can do that. Your mind can't do it. Only the heart that rules supreme, because it is love. Thank you, everyone. I will see you all in the stars. Have a fabulous week.